Welcome to Talking Buffalo, featuring conversations with guests from around the world of sports, media, pop culture, and all things Buffalo. With your host, Patrick Moran.
All right, what is going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to another episode of Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo sports talk and more. Today's episode is presented by Golf Dojo, your space, your time, your game. Bring your game to Golf Dojo, Western New York's best indoor golf experience. Visit mygolfdojo.com. Thank you, everybody, as always, for watching, listening, following, subscribing. I do appreciate you all. If you are watching this on the video side, we actually live here on a Sunday night. This is take two as well. Something happened just seconds in, and we're going
to fault, not mine.
And I have to restart this from the very beginning. I am joined, as always, this time of week. Well, not always, but most of the time anyway. A guy from New York City, Joe from Queens. Yeah, look, so we hit record. We talked for a few minutes beforehand, and as soon as we started talking, we couldn't hear each other. It was completely muted, but it was only a minute or so in, so here we are. Take two.
Right.
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. I'm joining the having Buffalo. Both of us have Buffalo gear on today.
Yeah. Not Bills gear, though.
It's not Bills gear because we're objective podcasters. I'm like, I mean, no one is. But no, I'm kidding. There's a lot of them, I think, probably. But yes, I have a Buffalo Bison's hat, a Buffalo Braves shirt that I bought from the Clippers website when they did some retro thing, like it was like 4 or 5 years ago. They did something like that, and I spent way too much on this T-shirt. And the T-shirt was like a large, but it feels super big on me, and I kind of don't like it because I'm like a medium kind of guy, kind of. You know, I got the dad bod, and I want to rock it, and you know, and this makes me look like it's like this is like I go to bed shirt. You know what I mean? So.
Well, we're both representing some Buffalo here in the video setting. I mean, this little Buffalo kind of shamrock, but in tan.
It's a Guinness
T-shirt.
It looks like
it is. It's kind of a Guinness shirt. We're going to do something a little bit different today. Kind of break up the monotony a little bit of Buffalo Bills training camp. One of the funniest things I've seen going on for quite a while now. Whether it's yourself, Jeremy White, I know does this on occasion during Bills games. A few other people. But Bills bingo boards, they're always a lot of fun to do. And Joe created his own Buffalo Bills 2024 training camp bingo board today. So I'm going to throw that up there. We're going to kind of go through that. For the most part, have a little bit of fun. It's kind of it's a parody to some extent, but there's some points that I'm sure are, at least in Joe's mind anyway, at least relatively serious.
A few things like I'll give you the history of the Buffalo Wins bingo board. I had been doing them probably since 2017, 18 maybe, and then I haven't done one in like a year and a half. I used to do them before games, and a lot of them are just complete hyperbole, nonsense, lies, and jokes. And if you get a bingo on there, like it's by a miracle because I make it I make it impossible kind of. But maybe in this case, it's going to be easier to get a bingo. I don't know.
For sure. So we're going to talk.
It took me about a minute to do this one, guys. So
it did. I started pressing you on Sunday.
I'm a dad. I forgot about it. I've been up since 5:30, and I had a nap at some point, I think. But so it's not my Picasso, unfortunately.
Well, we'll go through it, and we'll let the people decide. So we'll go through your Bills training camp version of your bingo board today. We're going to talk a little Pegula. We're going to talk at least a little bit about the first 4 days of Buffalo Bills training camp, a couple of developments. I'll kind of gauge what your interest is in those as well. We're going to talk a little bit about a story that Tim Graham did with The Athletic regarding Josh Allen and leadership, kind of some pushback from the team. I'm going to have you give us a little bit of a background and some of your thoughts on that as well today. So that's pretty much what we're going to be covering today. Like I said, training camp is 4 days in. It's going to kick into another gear starting. Most people are watching or listening to this on Monday. Starting on Monday, the pads go on, which makes a little bit of a difference. I have not been up to Rochester yet, but I will be in Rochester, at least for Monday for sure. So I'll have some observations. I'll have a show. By the way, Pandering Pat strikes again.
Yeah,
Get those
you'll
free
be
training
muted
camp
tomorrow.
tickets.
I don't need the play-by-play Pat Moran tweets tomorrow during training.
Oh, you're going to get them.
Oh, you'll be muted, buddy. I'm going to be changing diapers with pride.
I can't tweet. I can't tweet with my fingers fast enough. I don't know how some of these guys are tweeting during practice as much as they do.
They make it up probably. But go ahead.
They don't make it up. But anyway, I will be in Rochester for camp on Monday. Want to let you know too that on Wednesday night live Sunny Reds in Lackawanna. Joe Marino is going to be with me live. He's here in town in Buffalo covering camp this week. The Bills are off on Wednesday, so he's going to take that little trip from Rochester up to Buffalo, and he will be with me live on Wednesday night. Sunny Reds.
You're cheating on the other Marino with Joe Marino, huh?
I am.
You're bumping Anthony out of here, and you got the other Marino.
Anthony will be back on the show soon enough. By the way, I said Sunny Reds on Wednesday. This is Monday, National Chicken Wing Day, man. Did you know that?
Oh. When they have these national,
you're not a big fan?
Oh, yeah, it's fine. When they have these national food days, I swear to God, I
hate most of them.
Well, no, it feels like they had it already this year. Like I feel like National Chicken Wing Day already happened like 5 times this year. So that's kind of how. Well, I know this is like your Christmas, your holiday. I mean, I'm sure you had 20 wings tonight.
It's a Monday. It's a Monday. I don't even know if I'll have wings on Monday. I'm definitely gonna have them Wednesday, like I said, though, at Sunny Reds. But it is National Chicken Wing Day. So congratulations to all those who celebrate. Real quick, I know you're a beer guy, and I don't want to sit here and bullshit around too much. People are.
We already are.
We already
lost like 5 listeners from our live.
No, we lost 5 listeners or more because we don't know how to start a live show without it.
You don't know how to. You do. I'm just here so I don't get fined. But go ahead. What's
you
your
know
beer
how
question?
you're kind of a beer guy, a craft beer guy, a beer snob, maybe even to some extent.
Definitely.
And I'm the complete opposite, man. I am the Bud Light, the Miller Light, the Busch Light type of domestic guy.
Yes.
That might change though going forward.
Ooh, what happened?
I over the weekend I had 2 beers, 2 different types of beers, I should say, that I'm really fond of, and I'm really gonna give them a shot going forward.
Okay, where are they? Are they
a mango.
sponsors?
It was a mango wheat. No, they're not sponsors of the fucking show.
I'm sure you're pandering to the sponsors now.
No,
you want them.
Mango Cart wheat ale.
Okay.
Mango Cart.
What's the brewery?
Mango wheat. I had it at Imperial Pizza. It was incredible. And then I went to Doc Sullivan's on Saturday night. And I had
never been, probably won't, but go ahead.
Samuel Adams cherry wheat ale with 2 cherries in the pint glass.
Interesting.
Freaking amazing, man.
So I actually have the cherry wheat here. I have not had it yet because when we had our little one's birthday last week, I bought like a Sam Adams variety pack, and that was one of them. I don't know this mango. I mean, I like. Look, I don't discriminate against craft beer. I'll drink anything. So mango sound fine. Well, I've said this to you before. I'm surprised you don't drink craft beer because you're a lush first and foremost, and like craft beer usually has a giant intake of alcohol, and like you have 2 beers and you're on your ass and you're.
I'm also cheap, bro. I'm not trying to pay $8-9 for a pint of beer, man.
Yeah, but
go get an 18 pack of Busch Lights, like $15. Come on.
Sure, but it will mess you up quicker than that. At least it tastes better, But
it tastes. I was really impressed with it. Just if it was refreshing to drink. I didn't feel like I was drinking a beer to drink a beer. I was actually enjoying the beer. So I might go to the other side, man. I might become I don't know about a craft side.
You're cheap.
I hate stouts. I am cheap. Yeah. I am cheap when it comes to beer, especially. I do not like spending a lot of money.
Maybe you like a chocolate stout, like a dessert beer. It's a stout.
That's the thing. Nope, I don't like stouts. I don't like IPAs.
But how many stouts have you really tried, though? How many stouts have you really tried? Have you tried Guinness?
Not many.
Have you tried? I'm saying if you have flavors, because you seem like someone that likes sweets, and I'm just fat shaming you, even though you're not fat. You're skinnier than I am. But I'm saying like you look like you would like a flavor, like a dessert, like beer or something like that. Like a chocolate, like a Southern Tier stout, like the Warlock.
I like blueberry. EBC. Shout out Ellicottville, but
they have a good one.
But anyway,
I think like 10 of those to get you a buzz, but sure. Okay.
I think I've turned the corner, man. I think the days of just drinking the cheap, shitty domestic beer might be over for me.
If any of the 60 breweries in Buffalo want to buy some sponsor, content on this, Pat's your man now, because
Alex
he's
Barber, Joe from Queen Rules. All right, I'm not going to be putting up these comments today. Thank you, Alex, for
tuning
Alex.
in.
Thank you. Up this freaking guy's head up no more. All right, let's actually jump into some meaningful stuff here. People don't want to hear us talking about beer. I don't know if they want to hear us talking about football either, but we're going to do that right now. Tim Graham put out a very interesting story, as he usually does, on The Athletic this week, as camp was starting, and it would kind of more or less, and I want you to kind of talk about this a little more, because I read the story, but I just haven't really had a chance to follow much of the pushback. But apparently Tim Graham's story about Josh Allen and his leadership role on this team, and Pegula and Sean McDermott wanted him to take more of a boss type of approach, stop patronizing with the employees. Kind of, I don't know. I'll let you explain it, because you probably could better than me, but because you've been paying more attention to it. But caused some ruffles. It made Sean McDermott, I believe, responded to it before practice. Maybe it was on WGL. I don't know exactly where that took place, but I know it was addressed. So obviously it was read by the Bills, the organization, and Sean McDermott directly responded to it. Talk about, shed some light to people who don't know what we're talking about the story, and about some of the pushback and everything that's went on regarding Tim's story over the last handful of days.
Sure. So he dropped a piece on, I could just get the exact same date. Sorry if you just heard my cat's food just came out. It comes out randomly. Anyways, on July 23rd, this last week, which was a Tuesday, he dropped a piece about the Bills looking for new leaders. And when it dropped, no one really said anything on Twitter. Like, it was just like he posted it. I'm not going to pretend I was like sitting there like watching his feed, but there wasn't any sort of like, whatever. It was like a piece dropped, and then I think it was Thursday. It was Thursday night. He, in case you missed it, retweeted it, and he mentioned what Terry Pegula said not what he said, but like what was reported. Like this is what he said in the article. Bills owner Terry Pegula has implored Coach Sean McDermott and General Manager Brandon Beane to coax more of an executive demeanor out of Allen, a transformation that never took last year and likely added to Allen's ruddy play through 10 games. So like the executive demeanor is basically kind of, and he tweeted that basically out on Thursday night. And I was actually on Twitter at that point. And I was like, whoa, well, let me see this. Cause anytime Terry Pegula is mentioned in anything, it's, even if he's in the right, and afterwards I kind of thought about it, I was very like, oh God, why is he involved again? Like, I quote tweeted the article and said something like, why does it matter? Like, I think of leadership as being kind of like eye of the beholder, arbitrary. Like, there are people who are leaders who are like, you win with leaders who are gung ho and angry and want accountability. And then you have other leaders who are like the fun loving guy. I love everyone, blah, blah, blah. It's always whatever you want is when it comes to leaders. So I'm sitting here going, when did this become a thing? Like, this is what I'm thinking, reading this story, because I always thought Josh Allen was a leader. Like, it was kind of presented by the Bills, he was a leader, etc. And then the next day, GR opened their show, Jeremy White was on, and maybe like the second segment, they were talking about the article. And I wasn't the only person on Twitter that talked about the article and being like, oh, what does Terry Pegula? Because it's a combination, as I said. Like, there are people who don't like Terry Pegula, in terms of how he runs his teams. I'm one of them. And then there's people who are constantly sticking up for Josh Allen, no matter what, which I don't think I'm one of those people, but there's a lot of that in Buffalo. So you had the worlds collide in terms of like, here is a story at this little blurb that kind of had two different factions that have the same opinions for the same cause, if that makes sense. So Jeremy brings it up in the first segment or two on the morning show. And I remember he talked about it, how you could either view it as a Josh Allen thing or a Terry Pegula thing. And then next thing you know, Sean McDermott comes on and he gets asked about it, and he throws cold water on it right away in terms of, that's not how Terry Pegula is. He's not the boss that way. I'm paraphrasing what he said. And then he said, Josh has been great, and that sort of stuff. And then, which I was like, oh, okay. Like, nothing gets asked. This is me speculating. Nothing gets asked sometimes without maybe. I think they were ready to address it. I think they wanted to address it. And I think it got asked because of that, in terms of that. So then, Tim puts out the statement on Friday night, basically kind of saying, clarifying some stuff in terms of how he stated things, because, and my assumption is they probably told him they were pissed. And then I think it kind of probably spread around the camp on Friday to other people. And I just, if you read the article, it was a pretty, it was fine. No one had an issue. I don't know. I felt I was irrational a little bit with the Terry Pegula. I'm like, oh, why is this guy involved? And then the next day you kind of realize, fine, whatever. He may have said something and things like that. But I don't know. I just viewed it as why are the Bills so pissed about this? It didn't come across as super negative. It was negative if you don't like Terry Pegula, which again, I'm kind of guilty of that, in terms of how he runs teams and et cetera. And for them to kind of, and at least I'm just, again, speculating here, for them to be that upset and about something like this, it just feels like it's small time, in terms of how they run things. I've talked about this, that the Bills really have the iron fist, and they really try to it goes to me beyond PR. I get it. PR has to kind of man the waves or whatever you want to call it, and try to they want fluff stuff out, but it just feels like it's fluffy enough. And they just, whenever there's some sort of insight that, again, I just read the thing, and Tim kind of took back saying sources he got throughout the years, it wasn't some sort of giant meeting that just happened, which I read the article. I didn't take away from it being a giant meeting had just happened. So yeah, they were upset, it seemed like. And it's one of the things, I talk on this podcast all the time about how the Bills just run that town. And they run that whole city. I compare it to the school newspaper with the media covering the big college in town, Alabama, where the school just enforces everything, and it makes their jobs a lot harder, and they have to go through different hoops and things like that. And it's just for them to be upset about that article, I was just whatever, dudes. It was there for 2 days, and no one said it. And I'm pretty sure no one reached out to him before that, because they would have, and he would have clarified it a little bit. But it got a little buzz on Twitter, and then Jeremy White brought it up in the morning show, and it was just stupid. It was just I felt like a little bit responsible, because I was kind of annoyed by again, Terry, get out of here. Why are you putting anything here? But again, Tim had a good story on it, and he even stuck up for people who were shut up, Terry, get out of here. He stuck up for him, and they're just very protective of him, and I don't really know why. And I've complained about this for the last 5-6 years.
Well, he's the owner.
Well, yeah, well, he should be held accountable. He never talks. He never doesn't want to. He hasn't talked about the Bills since 2019. I've talked about this before. There's been so many things that have happened since then, on the front office scale, the business side. We're giving him all this taxpayer money to build this new stadium, and he just does. No one gets him on the record ever. And it's just they're just. I don't want to hear, oh, he's a shitty speaker. Great. Ralph Wilson was a shitty speaker too. Okay, and Ralph would still talk.
That's not what I was going to say, though. What I was going to say is he owns a company. For a while. He owns a company. If I owned a company and I had a bunch of employees, it would be their job to protect me. That's what they're supposed to do. So that doesn't surprise me. They got a PR department, a media relations department, and they're going to protect their owner from looking bad.
Okay, but
I'm not disagreeing with you.
It wasn't like this. He kicked down the door and was like, Josh Allen, I want you to watch these old videos of Jim Kelly yelling at Howard Ballard and being like this. It wasn't like that. It was just
I agree. I agree with you there. I was surprised.
They're very controlling. They're just controlling.
Because you said the pushback came a couple days later, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember reading the story. I had Tim on the show last weekend. It was all about the Terrell Bernard, because he was dropping a Terrell Bernard long form feature, which, by the way, if you haven't checked that out, that is a great read on Terrell Bernard. And then he dropped the training camp thing, and it was primarily, kind of sort of a primer, but about Josh Allen. They want him to be more of a leader. A couple days go by. I didn't think too much of it. To your point, I didn't think there was anything outlandish that was asked or said. And then a couple days later, I'm like, whoa, what the hell is going on here. Do you get the sense from reading that article that even though Tim didn't say this, but like Pegula, Sean, whoever, that they want Josh Allen to kind of be more of a, say, what's a good example here? How about Aaron Rodgers? Like Aaron Rodgers with Green Bay. You know, he was an NFL MVP. Wasn't really so much.
Aaron. They didn't like him though. Okay, go ahead.
But my point is Aaron Rodgers was kind of, and this is one of the many reasons I freaking hate Aaron Rodgers, but he was always pointing fingers at teammates, calling them out, holding them publicly accountable, being critical of the team when, you know, the team wasn't playing well, critical of himself, but he was critical of his teammates, of just the coach, the staff. Everybody kind of felt like when it was warranted, Aaron Rodgers was kind of that guy, as opposed to, say, a friend, where I think there's some people, maybe you, who think that Josh Allen is too chummy. Tim Graham probably, you know, who wrote the story, that maybe Josh is a little too chummy with some of his players, his teammates, and maybe he needs to be more kind of a leader. I don't agree with that. I'm just saying that's kind of.
I think they do.
Do you think that's what the Pegulas want him to be? It's like Aaron Rodgers, like the example I use, at least. Anyway.
I don't know about Aaron Rodgers because he was a prick and he was hard to get along with. You know, maybe Tom Brady more so. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, he's a dick too, but they probably
leaders are kind of dicks. A lot of these champions, these best players, these leaders who talk a lot and call teammates out, they kind of are dicks.
I don't know. Like Patrick Mahomes just won 3 Super Bowls. Is he a dick? Is he someone that's called people out? So why can't Josh just be Josh? I think that was part of
He did embarrass Kadarius Toney though when they played the Bills. Man, he lost his damn mind when Kadarius Toney was offside.
Yeah, but he didn't. No, he lost his mind at the refs. He did not lose his mind at the player. He lost his mind at the refs. That's a different thing. Okay, that's different than like
questioning Mahomes' leadership. To your point, that's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. No one's saying like but he's not ripping people in press conferences or anything like that. So I don't like. Let Josh be Josh. And I think that was part of the reaction on Twitter was, as I said, like the people who wanted to stick up for Josh, you know, they were like, just let Josh be Josh. And then the people who can't stand Terry Pegula were like, go pay for your own stadium or something like that. So
do you feel like Tim's story, it wasn't really an opinion piece, Tim's opinion. It was more reporting that there was some that Sean and Terry want Josh to be what did they want him to be? More outgoing towards his teammates, more demanding of them, more executive kind of.
That's what he said. Executive, they want him to be more in the executive demeanor, whatever. And that's one thing I was like, I don't know what the hell that means. So I don't know. It's like whatever. Let Josh be Josh. If they want him to be a better leader, I don't know what that entails. I also think it's kind of It's as a fan, I'm not going to know if he's a leader or not. Like, what do I have to judge that on? I'm not in the freaking locker room. Like, is it the only way I can tell is if he's, and again, this is very debatable. Like what? He's at a press conference and he's calling out his tackle. He's doing what Jim Kelly used to do, which was like, I hate, screw Howard Ballard, and like calling, getting into fights with Andre Reed on the sideline. Like when Stephon Diggs shrugs his shoulders, do you want Josh Allen to get up and be like, get out of my face? Like what constitutes as being a leader?
I agree.
And then you have these other things that the Bills are obviously trying to get the word out, the narrative out that Josh is a leader, And I remember the first day of camp, and it just rubbed me the wrong way. Was you had Sean McDermott? Someone asked him about leadership, about Josh Allen. Josh Allen was like, Sean McDermott was like, Josh is he's taking a step forward of being a bigger leader. And then like literally one Bills beat guy tweets out a freaking 20-second video of Josh talking to a teammate, and he's like, leadership, I've seen this multiple times today. And I was like, I looked at it, I was like, dude, like, I'm pretty sure he has talked to his teammates forever. Like, there's been video clips of this like 3-4 years ago, his rookie year. Like, you've always heard these narratives about him talking to players and so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden I'm supposed to be like, oh, he's a bigger leader now because it's the first day of training camp. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it just feels like fake, like propaganda that the Bills want you to tweet out and post. And I think that's why I have. Sorry, and I'll let you go here. And that's why I get so frustrated and annoyed whenever you hear things like Tim getting like shit for that article, and it's just like, and all these other people want to stay face with the Bills and like carry their message and carry their water, and it's ridiculous. Go ahead.
Now, I want to say something about Josh Allen. It's not something that I haven't said before, but I feel like in this case, it kind of bears repeating. One of the issues that I've had with Josh Allen throughout his career, really, and this is not to say that I don't think he's a leader or that he's not enough of a leader, but one thing about Josh Allen that has bothered me during games is sometimes when he's playing bad, when he's making mistakes, when he's throwing picks, he goes to the bench. He doesn't talk to anybody. He has that kind of
Okay.
that look on his face. That demoralized almost. If I went back, how people like to watch games for highlight plays. I'd like to go back over the last couple of years and go to every Josh Allen interception and then maybe fast forward 30, 60 seconds and go to the sidelines and screenshot pictures of Josh Allen sulking on the sidelines. I've seen it. I pointed it out when I've watched games before that it's actually annoyed me.
I think it's stupid.
I'm not saying that doesn't make him a leader.
Okay, there are other
Tom
Brady. You can Google Tom Brady frustrated. I can picture Tom Brady being by himself on the sidelines, looking down and not looking happy.
It's happening.
So it's
sure.
like come on. I mean, this is all just. As I said, there are leaders in sport. Joe Montana, arguably before Tom Brady came, was the best quarterback of all time. You couldn't find any footage of him yelling at anyone. I don't think of him as a leader. He wasn't a good broadcaster, I'll tell you that much. And they called him Joe Cool. And he was so laid back. Like during the Super Bowl, he was like John Candy's in the freaking stands in the Super Bowl 23.
Yeah.
Like that's how cool he was. He wasn't like, "Oh, we're gonna win this. I'm gonna kill everyone."
He was a terrible announcer, by the way.
He was really bad. But the point is like, let people be people. Like in terms of those players, but they look at it probably as a very they lost Jordan Poyer, they lost Michael Hyde, Trey White, Stephon Diggs was a captain. You can bash him all you want, but people looked up to him. And now that we have a new core here, Josh Allen I might be wrong. He might be the longest tenured player on this team for all.
He's not, but no, he's not. He's close. It's Matt Milano, Deion Dawkins, Reed Ferguson. Those three.
Yeah. So the next one is him. So they kick him in the league. So they probably want him to do it. And I'm sure there's some. The Bills love to get that sort of stuff out there for their gimmick, etc. But I think you brought up a good point, though. I think the fact that they lost Trey and Diggs and Poyer and Hyde and Morse, that maybe Pegula is kind of employing more of a quote unquote leadership vocal role from Josh. But I guess I don't buy it, but I think it's bullshit mostly too. You said it. Let Josh be Josh. Whatever Josh is doing, keep doing it. Just be one of the best players in the NFL. And let's worry about quote unquote locker room leaders and all that other shit. I don't care if it's Reed Ferguson. I don't care if it's Deion Dawkins. I don't give a shit who it is. I give a shit that my quarterback's playing at an elite level. They're very protective of him. And I think part of the reason why they were annoyed at Tim, aside from the Pegula comment, was, you could view that article, even though I didn't, like, oh, wait, is Josh not a good enough leader? And that's what McDermott came on, and he was like on the radio, and was like, "Oh, he's been fine," like bristled about it. But they're very protective of it. Brandon Beane gets asked about the stupid overrated comment by the NFL executive, which wasn't like the end of the world. It was already simmered down. No one was talking about it. Someone asks him, and he goes on this 10-minute like speech about it, like how upset he was, or this guy's an idiot. And it's just like, okay, dude, like. As I've told you before, like you can say someone's overrated, but I think they're terrible. Like you think Succession is an overrated show, but I don't think you think it's terrible. At least I don't think you think. No, I don't think it's terrible. Yeah, I think it's overrated though. Okay, and that doesn't mean you think it's terrible. So sure. In terms of that, he goes on this like spiel about it, and the Bills Twitter has to go out there and promote his idiot comment 10 seconds after it gets asked, which. I thought it was pretty fishy because Sean McDermott and Allen were on before him, and no one asks him about the overrated comment. And then Brandon Beane comes out, who's the more colorful of those three guys. He's very colorful when it comes to being upset, and all of a sudden he gets asked that. And it's kind of interesting that no one asked the other two about that. I'll just leave it at that. And they saved it for Brandon Beane. And they saved it. Yeah, it got saved for Brandon Beane, sure. And then 10 seconds later it gets posted. It's just kind of. Like, did the Bills PR want the reporters to ask that? Because again, that's kind of how it works a lot of times, and it's things that don't get mentioned. I mean, I mention it, and I'm kind of obsessed with it, creepy enough probably, about the Bills' relationship with the media and them putting their will. And I get annoyed at that because I'm like, I would be like, fuck you. I don't work for you. I'm like, I'm not working for you. Go have Chris Brown ask that if that's the case. But I digress. But yeah, it's been a lot of, this is how training camp is. But I don't think anyone had in their bingo card, let's have a leadership issue, or not issue, air quotes, I'll just say it. But on the third, fourth day of it. But they were weird about it. Like, I don't know why they were. That's how the Bills are. They're very protective of Josh Allen and Terry Pegula. Like those, I think everyone else is free. Like you can go and take a dump on them, but those two, no, you can't touch them, or you're going to get an angry Boyko phone call probably.
Let's you mentioned the bingo card. Let's actually get to that. Again, you do bingo cards before a lot of games. Buffalo Rumblings was another one, by the way, too. I know they do some fun bingo cards before Buffalo Bills.
Yeah,
games.
They're like rated G. I saw their stuff.
It's a little more on the lighter side and not maybe as personally boring, demeaning as yours.
Bring your game, Matt.
Some may say boring. All right, so you put up. In fact, actually, you didn't put this up.
No, I just gave it to you
for the first time. I'm the only one who's seen this. Now, if you're watching this or listening to this, you're the first ones. I'm sure you'll be tweeting this probably tomorrow. But this is the Joe from Queens 2024 Buffalo Bills training camp bingo board. And I'm going to have to describe again. So we got a lot more listeners than people watching. So I want to make sure I go through these. And a bingo board, pretty self-explanatory, man. There are 5 rows. You got your B's, your I's, your N's, your G's, your O's, and a set of numbers.
Bingo.
I guess I have to, man. And in some cases, a set of numbers, you write in a comment or a prediction or whatever it may be. Let me fly through. We'll go through these like 5 at a time, and then maybe we'll head on a couple of these. All right, so these are the first 5 here, the B's on Joe's Bills 2024 training camp bingo board. Only show offensive highlights while ignoring defense. That's already been checked.
Yep.
Who has more 53-man rejection pieces? UpstateNewYork.com or Cover One? Kind of funny. In fairness, and here he goes, pandering Pat sticking up. I'm going to say this though. Fucking everybody has rejections of 53-man.
Sure, but that's the only one I could fit in. And they post a lot, all those.
And you also admit it, man. You do this shit together in
I do it to troll people, make fun of people.
Sure. 53-man rejection rosters on any content period overflowed. That'd be a good one.
I hate that.
All right. Next one. Bills X, Josh Allen talks to player, which means ultimate leader. Kind of explain that a little bit real quick.
Well, I just explained it before
that's what I thought.
But I'll do it again. Yes. When everyone is all of the content that you see on Bills X, everything right now, it's Josh Allen, Keon Coleman. Those are like the 2 main guys right now that you can't leave X without seeing a video of shaking hands and doing dances and all this sort of crap. And the Josh Allen, like we talked before, the whole
I got you.
The big thing is like, oh, he's a leader now, like he's getting better. And then like here's him talking to a teammate, and then someone posts, look, he's a leader. He's talking to this post.
I got you.
They could be talking about like freaking Paris for all we know.
Yeah, he's talking to Dawson Knox after a player on the sideline, and it's demonstrating that Josh is the ultimate leader.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I've seen that. I saw it in 2019. I'm sure if you found your favorite Bills beat guy and you put leadership Josh Allen in a tweet or the search bar, you'll find stuff from 2020, 2021. The guy was a freaking captain in his second year. Okay, right. So like this content has fucking been out forever. Anyways, moving forward.
Let's continue here. D-list celebrity attends training camp to give speech. That hasn't happened yet.
Has not happened yet. It will happen though. It's going to happen. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it will be Wolf Blitzer because he's got the election. Shooter McGavin, whatever the fuck his name is, he might be down there because he loves the Bills somehow. And I think Happy Gilmore 2's coming out at some point, so he may want to go get that Bills Mafia rub for the movie. I don't know if he's going to be in it, but he might be.
What about Kyle Brand? Oh, Kyle Brand was just in Buffalo for the throw out the first pitch for Bison's game. So he could have been a candidate.
And that even though he whores himself out for the adulation of fans everywhere, I don't think he's going to do that because he is supposed to be a journalist or whatever the hell he's supposed to be.
All right, so
someone will be there. It will be there. It will be there though. D-list though. So
all right, all right. Then the last one in the B column: local media posts food and golf pics that no one cares about.
No one cares about it. Sorry, guys. No one cares about it. The food
I kind of care about the golf, actually.
Oh,
I know
my
you
God. You're
don't.
just trying
I'm a
to
golf
troll
guy,
me.
dude. I'm a golf guy. Shout out Golf Dojo. Yeah, I'm a golf guy, so I do care about it. But you clearly don't.
Yeah, you're just trying to troll me with that. Like, but also, yes, Golf Dojo. Hey, it's fine. Like, if you tweet about Golf Dojo, that's cool.
Okay, but yeah, you're to your point. Local media tweeting out food and golf pictures. That's clearly happening already. Of course it is. All right, let's go to the next column here. The eyes. Cover one, angry at national media opinion of Josh Allen.
That happens.
That's a lot more than cover one.
That happens every day.
It happens to other outlets as well. But all right, I'll let you have this. I'm going to let you have your cover one moment.
Oh, you can't go a day without Air Raid being angry about a national media person. It's his gimmick. I don't know if that's in the cover one, handbook for employment handbook. Like, you must tweet about how mean the national media is about Josh Allen. But that's his gimmick, and he gets a lot of impressions on it and likes, which... God, it's more of those. I blame the listener. I blame the Bills X people more than the people who instigate it. But yeah, that's definitely going to get marked because they do it all the time. That's right. But so do other people, like you said. But
I was going to say that's the prototype. If you're looking for likes, if you're looking for impressions, and you are a local blogger, content creator, or hell, man, if you are a mainstream media person and you want some engagement and likes, go find something mean and terrible that the big old national media said and defend your Buffalo Bills, and you're going to get a lot of support. I've done it as well, so I'm no better than anybody else, and I'm criticizing. I'm okay with that.
Look, it's fine to do it once in a while, but not every day is ridiculous.
Sure. Agreed. I'm just saying, I'm not going to sit there and criticize others when I'm guilty of the same thing as well. All right, let's move to the next one. McDermott says, I love going away to camp. He does say that. Obviously, this was a gimme, though. This was a gimme fucking dot.
Well, he always says that. He says he loves going away. That's how he was raised, and like when he was assistant coach with the Eagles and all that crap. Which, I guess I would love to know, someone should. I don't want to do a story because it's probably too late now. But I wish someone would do a story about go to a player who is used to going to camp, like at the stadium or whatever they normally do, versus going here, because do they like it more? Do they hate it more? I don't know, whichever Bills player who would have to be a free agent, probably, what do they like more? Do they like staying home, or do they like going to camp and being in the fucking dorm and all that sort of shit? So if it's better for the coaches and players, what do they prefer, I guess? But
sure.
I have no idea what they like in terms of, I've never been a football player. So
the feeling I get from talking to a couple people is the players generally like being at camp more than the media, but there are some media who do like being at camp for a couple of weeks. They go back and forth.
Well, no, I'm talking about the players more or less. I don't care. I don't care if the media likes camp or not.
I know you don't give a shit about it.
No, I'm saying if the players.
That has been established about 5 years ago or so on this podcast. All right, next one. Where the fuck are the red helmets?
Yeah,
have you heard this yet? I haven't heard that yet.
No, I've been saying it. That's my fucking thing. Right. Wear the red helmet. I've been pissing and moaning about this on Bill's Twitter for the last 3 years. You see all these teams doing a third alternate uniform or a new helmet and all this shit, and the Bills haven't done any. They've had the same uniform since 2011, 2012, or whatever it was, which is fine. They're fine, but they haven't had a third alternate one in over a decade. And it's sure. How much money have you guys not been able to make more of by not having more helmets or different uniforms? Your team, had star players. I mean, there were more stars the last couple of years than probably now. I mean, give it some time and maybe some of these guys will break out. But it's just wear the red helmets. Wear the other helmets. I see Jacksonville does a white helmet with their logo on it. It looks awesome. What the fuck? And what do you wait? And the guy, I forget, the new CEO, whatever the hell his name is, was on GR, and he said it's coming soon, and I'm like, okay, so when is soon? They're looking into it now. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, you guys have had 12 years to look into this, basically, and I don't know, it's an annoying thing. It's the one pet peeve where I can understand someone hearing me bitch about it and be like, who cares, dude? I can understand that, but it's my pet peeve. Get something, get the helmet back, get something, a different uniform. Sure. What are you guys doing? Everyone else has had a new uniform, or third one, the fourth. I don't know. And the Jets have had 20 different uniforms since like 2015 or something like that. So
Next one. Bills beat guy in a schmedium polo shirt. Dude, why are you dissing my guy, John Scott?
John
What's
Scott,
wrong? What's up with that, man? That's my guy, man. John's a big dude, by the way. I'll
no,
tell
he's
you
a big,
that.
I've watched.
Yeah,
I watched.
cut dude. Like he when
Jesus.
he was met with me at Imperial about a month or so ago. I was like, he's pretty cut up, man. But yeah, it is kind of funny. Bill's media wears some schmediums, man.
The schmedium list. Josh Fab Brown's on the schmedium list. Sal Capaccio is sometimes on the schmedium list. Jeremy White, I've seen him kind of on the schmedium list, and it's fine. Like I'm a schmedium guy. I'm a schmedium guy. You know, you get a little bit of the cut, and you know,
not too much of a belly to have schmedium.
What you're saying, you know, I'm
the opposite. Too. I like the loose fits, man. I got a little bit of too much belly room down there.
I have broad shoulders, so the schmedium works for me because I'm broad up top like a bulldog. But anyways, yes. I'm not Skursky. No, Skursky doesn't wear a schmedium. He's not a
schmedium guy. I think you named them. I think it's John. I think it's Jeremy.
Skursky, I'll give him credit. I'll give Skursky credit. He's one of the best dressed Bills beat guys. I see his outfits. I'm like, hey, you know what? He's got some good color coordination. I give him that award. So congratulations.
All right, next one. Like always, offense is behind the defense. That's not been the case. This is a bingo board that this one might not get filled up because I'll tell you what, through the first 4 days, minus one segment, the offense has kind of dominated the defense.
Didn't they have like 3 interceptions?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He threw 3 interceptions on like 6 plays or 5 plays. But aside from that, the talk has been about how good the offense has looked pretty early on in camp.
Yeah, and they don't have pads on, and they're mostly 7-on-7. It's so stupid. I'm not down with any of this. I guess the offense it's always the case. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I'm going to complain more. And they put up the offense, like put over the offense as being great. And then when it's funny because it's like no one. If you're going to put over the offense as being great, how come you're not putting it over the defense being not great? And then when they got to the defense, they were like, well, don't worry about the defense because it's just camp. It's the second day of camp. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not supposed to worry about the defense, but I'm supposed to be excited about the offense that you just drool over for the last 10 minutes. It should work both ways a little bit. Like, don't get too excited. Don't get too pessimistic because it's camp. They don't have shoulder pads. It's fucking bullshit. Everyone's just there to fucking work out and take selfies. But anyways, yeah, move on.
All right. Well, real quick, little side note. John Sanders, who's watching this live on the video site, says white helmets are way better than the red ones. To your
no, I agree.
Nostalgia is a hell of a drug.
I agree. Hey, I'm not saying I agree with that. Like, I do like the white helmets, but there are people who do like the red ones a lot. And sure. just get something new. I just want something to look at. Like, get a third.
Switch it up. Agreed. I couldn't agree with you 100% more. Well, let's move on to the next column here, the middle column, the end column. Knows the system better than last year. I haven't heard much of that yet.
They always say that.
Sure,
I'm sure someone's going to ask Josh Allen about like the system, knowing it better, even though it's probably a new system now. It might not go. It might not work for this year because the system was different last year on the offensive side of the ball. But I'm sure there's going to be like, oh, I know Joe Brady way more now than I did last year. It always happens whenever you have a new offense or the same defense. Everyone always knows the offense more, the defense more.
Let's get through a couple of these quicker too. All right, so someone gets cut that the Bills should definitely sign. That
means and I'm talking about like other teams, just so we know. So other team cuts him, they should sign him. It always happens. Always.
That's coming. Media members shows you their dorm. That has happened a couple times. You always get a couple of tours. There's my basic ass room.
They got to show it. They got to show it.
While they're doing their shows, like I said, I know Perino's doing his show there every day from his dorm room, and now Ryan Talbot's been up there.
Let me tell you this.
Sal's giving you a tour. I'm pretty sure maybe Catherine Fitzgerald has from the Buffalo News so far as well. That's what I've seen. But yeah,
if I were them, and this is just me being a ham, and I am a ham, I would totally bring decorations. Go to the Dollar Tree, bring some like Happy New Year, like just deck out, get a lava lamp, go to Five Below and get some of that shit that you can get and just make
your shit out. Pimp your shit out. 100%. I'm with you. You know what? Of all your rants, that might be one of your best ones. One that I will go to war with you with that one. A lot of these guys and girls who are showing you their dorms, basic Jane dorms. Spice that shit up a little bit, guys.
You could even have a giveaway, like come down there and I'll give you my lava lamp out of here. Like, why not? Sounds like something Talbot and Perino would do. Like
your mid-space one doesn't need any explanation because we've already seen it a gazillion times. Josh Allen autograph content. We're going to see that to no end. Pictures of him signing, which to his credit, by the way, he does stay inside a lot of autographs. I give him a lot of credit.
He won't sign adults, though. I don't know if you know that. He will not sign adults. Yeah, no, I agree. Like, screw them. But he won't sign adults. I know a friend, my wife's friend, her husband is a avid, like, autograph collector. And he's very upset that Josh Allen does not sign autographs. So just.
Really? That's stupid.
Yeah. I just nodded and was like, okay, dude. Sorry.
One more here on the middle one. Shitty blue-collar, high-motor wide receiver excites Bills. All right, I'll say this.
Bills X, by the way. So Bills X excites, yes.
Bills X, Bills Twitter, whatever the hell's the difference, man. I'd still call it Twitter, by the way. I think you're starting to see a little bit of that. I don't want to say shitty. That's not cool, man.
You can't wait to pump.
Tyrell Shavers is a no-name receiver. Well, he's a no-name receiver compared to the guys that we've been talking about for months. He's had that early. He was last year's Andy Isabella, I think, right now. Tyrell Shavers is a guy who they're starting to say is playing his way into contention for a roster spot. So I see more and more people starting to get excited about the things he's done so far.
I think of this as like the Brandon Riley. Like that guy was there for like 3 camps in a row and people loved him and he was the blue
Shavers
collar,
might be maybe that's Shavers.
Dude. Yeah.
All right, 2 more columns here. We'll get to the ends. Lindy Ruff shows up.
That's happening. That's happening. They got to have that bullshit one Buffalo synergy. He's going to be there at some point, and he'd be like, "This is my first camp in like 10 years. It's great for here." And like he'll be with Terry, like walking the sidelines. Maybe Kevin Adams might be there too. It's going to be one of those two or both. But Lindy's going to show up there, and they're going to do a selfie with him and McDermott, and maybe Bean. Maybe Marv Levy comes in Facebook timing, and going hi. But yes, that's happening.
Bills don't need Gabe Davis or Stephon Diggs. So by the way, I'm going to read a comment here too. John Sanders says, Josh Allen doesn't need a number 1 wide receiver, should be on there. And then November comes, we'll be begging to trade for Adams or Hopkins. That's actually kind of funny. And to your point, I shouldn't have put that up there. Good. Thank you for the comment, John. But it's kind of going to what you're saying. He's saying that right now, actually, great timing, too, because your bingo board pieces, we don't need Diggs or Davis. But people are saying that now we're going to be clamoring and whining for Devontae Adams come November. We could do a whole podcast on this specific topic, and we're not because I want to get to the other ones, too. But I'm actually count me among those right now who would got that because I don't think they need Stephon Diggs or Gabe Davis.
Oh, my God.
That's how I feel right now.
What is wrong with you?
I like what I'm hearing. I like what I'm seeing.
Joe Marino, did you listen to Joe Marino podcast and he put them over to I saw that an article like Curtis Samuel like blew up the other day, and I talked to someone like, did he blow up? And the person that was covering the day was like, he had one good catch, but he blew up, I guess, or he's on the rise. I don't know. Please, dude, the wide receiving core is going to be blah.
I don't agree.
Okay, well, great. I know you got Shakir going to the Hall of Fame. I got you.
For the sake of being able to move this along, we'll keep going here. Next one for you. Media members go on each other's podcasts to brag about golf.
Yep.
All right. Well, I mean, sure.
It's going to happen. I mean, you probably have already done it with if you get Aaron Quinn back on. I mean, me and Aaron Quinn, even though we're frenemies on Twitter and X. I follow him on Instagram, and he's always golfing. So if you get him on, you guys
Nate Gary too. Nate Gary.
Oh my God,
Nate Gary's out there a lot.
I've said this before, but it's been a while. I have the word golf muted because I hate golf, as I've maintained, but I have it muted, and I still fucking see golf content all the freaking time.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. Yeah,
I love it, man. I love it.
I did it. Look, I like miniature golf. Like go to putt and you hit the freaking ball through a temple. And like get it through like some guy's mouth, like a statue. That's great. I don't care about the other golf.
Sure.
I'm like the guy in the movie Falling Down, Michael Douglas, when he's like yelling with his shotgun and saying that like children should be here on this course, and he shoots the freaking golf cart and the guy gets a heart attack and dies. That's me, but not giving you a heart attack, but. Anyways, golf sucks. Go on.
Terry Pegula bucket hat photo. Quite literally, it's one half of the cover. It's one half of the cover of this week's or today's podcast episode. My personal favorite one here is Pat Moran panders while asking for a training camp ticket.
Yep.
That has come true, and it has successfully come true because I am going to Rochester.
Who gave it to
When
you?
you're listening to this, somebody on Twitter.
Just a random person gave it to you on Twitter.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I would say it's a random person, but it's a person that I know from Twitter. Scott, shout out, by the way, I'll throw it out there. Scott McGinnis, nice guy. Scott McGinnis giving me
Does he have me
gave me
muted
his
or
ticket
blocked?
for Monday. I also got tickets for Friday, but I won't actually be going. Friday is the scrimmage at the stadium. I don't really
Do you
give a shit
have it?
about that.
Oh, at the stadium. All right, because you
I
know
don't
what?
care about
As
that.
much as I don't know, this is gonna be hypocritical of me. So I'm going camping on Thursday through Sunday, and it's like north of Syracuse. And I did think about going to camp and with the kid so the baby can see it, and you know that would be hypocritical. So I'm not gonna do it because I hate camp. So anyway,
Fair enough. All right, let's get to this. Let's get to this last column. And by the way, 100%, I do pander for training camp.
pander all the
By the
freaking
way,
time. That's why I don't follow
listen, they're really, first of all, real quick on that though. Let me defend. I'm not going to even defend myself. I'm just going to point out a fact. They're hard to get. Training camp tickets in
They're
this
on
year.
StubHub.
This year are really hard. Last year, I'm telling you, there wasn't a day that went by where if somebody wasn't like, who's looking for camp tickets? I got a couple extra tickets. I went to like 8 practices last year and didn't even have to really grovel and beg much to get tickets for anything. And I don't even try to get a credential through the Bills. I don't want to play that game. I'm not going to. I have no interest in it. I don't want to be told, you know, hey, you mean too hard about this or that or any of that shit. And you know
You
what?
want to get a call? You got to have a long thread
know
like
what I'm
Tim
talking about.
did
I don't
about how you
not,
clarify something.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not. It doesn't move the needle for me having a credential to change the way I'm going to talk about this team on this podcast. So anyway, my point was I don't even want to go through those channels. I probably could go through a back door, through another back door, and probably work something out. But I ain't trying to do that. Anyway, all right. Last column here. Palooza. That's starting to simmer a little bit. That's a Joe B thing.
That's a Joe B thing. I think I may have spelled it wrong. I mean, if I did, my apologies to Joe.
Yeah, you should have. I think you should have had 2 O's or 2.
Yeah, well, you know,
O's.
that's Joe B's gimmick. He loves the pun.
All right, that's his
I
gimmick.
I honestly, I'm not going to lie. I couldn't tell you who the punters are. I forget all the time. It's not. Hack is gone, right? Like, he's gone. Whatever. What was his name? A star. What
Matt
was the
Hawk.
punter? Hawk is gone, right?
Yeah, Hawk's gone. They got Browning, who's an undrafted free agent, who's got a really good chance to beat out Sam Martin. So the punt competition is actually going to be something to watch. All right, these last 4, I'm going to read them out, but I really don't need to talk about any of these specifically. Adult fans complain about not getting autographs. That's a given. Muting Buffalo wins, which is you. That is a given. You might throw a block in there as well in some cases, which you like to block back, which I think is funny. Somebody blocks Joe blocks them back. That's his policy.
Han shoots first, yes. So that's how it works.
Tim Graham starts trouble. That's already been dabbed on. So we've already talked about that on this podcast. And then overreaction to who is starting in camp. That is the last one. And we're kind of getting that a little bit already with DeMar Hamlin starting out at camp. So we'll go there and let's do this. All right. So that's Joe's Bengals board. I liked him. The shot at me was funny. The media dorm room thing is funny. The schmedium. I enjoyed that one.
Michael Partham, longtime listener, first time caller. I want you to, I know you're listening, print out the bingo board. Let me know when you get a bingo. Starting tomorrow, though, I want you, because he'll do it. Anyways, go ahead.
Michael was at Mafia Con. He actually stood there when I moved the show from inside to outside with Tim. Michael stood there at the table and made sure nobody took over that space and kind of helped me get shit all set up. So yeah, shout out Michael Partham. But anyway, that's Joe's bingo board. Always entertaining. I'm sure you'll be doing some of these.
It took me 30 seconds to do it. Maybe we'll do it every game that's going. That could be my segment. If I did a
that could be a gimmick here on the podcast.
That could be a preview. Like we do the preview, like the Bills, like the opener, Bills Cardinals, bingo board. Fan dies from getting too drunk. Like, there we go. That's the
I think you missed one opportunity though. When we're going through this bingo board, there's a trend that's going on that's being talked about a lot. I think you missed one opportunity. Overall, very good.
Hawkeye girl, or whatever comes to
no Hawk Tua girl. But
Hawk Tua, whatever.
What did you call her? Hawkeye girl?
Hawkeye girl. I mean, that's actually Josh Allen's girl, Hawkeye girl. But like Hawk Tua girl comes to camp or whatever.
No, it's
that should be the D-list celebrity that comes there.
Where I think the one thing I think you miss an opportunity on to talk about is Matt Collins, barefoot. All the
Oh
barefoot talk
yeah,
now.
the hipster.
Players are warming up
You love
barefoot. He
that
had this whole
too.
sermon on how much better being barefoot is. So I kind of feel like you missed out on a Matt Collins opportunity.
I've only
Other than
seen
that,
like
though,
photos of him, and he looks like a fun guy.
other than that, really good job. All right, so before we get out of here, a couple other things I want to make sure we get to, and this is, we've kind of had a little bit of a light segment here. Let's get a little bit serious though now,
Oh,
because
sure.
Kim Pegula was at practice on Friday. Now, she's been to practice a little bit, but this time was different for a couple reasons. Number one, the team gathered at the end of practice in the far end zone around her to have a breakdown at the end of practice. Josh Allen led the team breakdown, and Kim Pegula was there. But what was different about this one is that it was actually photographed. And real quick here, I'm going to throw this up because the Buffalo Bills social media outlet, they put this up themselves. All right, so a picture of Kim Pegula was released. The Buffalo News had a picture. And before that, you and I were talking on Friday, and I remember saying, the guy from Buffalo News who tweeted it out, I was like, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills try to make him take that down. But shortly after we talked, the Bills put it up. Look, she's obviously in very rough shape. It goes without saying. We all know that. I got to be honest with you, man. That got to me. I felt that. They showed the video too on Bill's X of her being there, Josh breaking the team, and her kind of putting up her hand towards Josh's face. I thought it was a really kind of like almost not kind of, it was an emotional moment for me. I felt it for sure. And she's in rough shape, but it was great to see her. And I'm surprised that the Bills put out photos and videos. I'm glad they did though. But let me ask you that. Were you surprised to see what you saw on Friday?
Yeah. I mean, they've sheltered her the last 2 years. I heard a story that last year someone from the media took a photo of her in a car and posted it, and it got taken. They told them to take it down right away.
Yeah.
So, that's why it's a little bit surprising. There's a part of me that kind of wonders if maybe everything is planned. And I don't think this was maybe I'm wrong. This was it just happened like that. It was probably planned a little bit because you've been out there all week, and maybe they were like, "Hey, why don't you go, break it, break the huddle with them." Maybe it was to that day and before. I don't know. In terms of how long this was planned out. It was. She definitely. It was. I do feel bad. I know I give Terry a lot of shit. I've given Kim a lot of shit before her accident, and you definitely feel bad, in terms of what he's gone through, and it's got to be rough to do all that. She obviously she's his life, etc. All that sort of stuff that you hear with married couples, and just for it sucks. And I feel for them in terms of as a couple, having to go through that. So I don't know. I don't know why they decided to do it now, where they're kind of like, hey, let's.
I was surprised, very pleasantly so, but that's by far the most we've seen from Kim since what happened. It was, I thought it was very emotional. And there was also a photo of her kind of hugging DeMar Hamlin too. There's just the vibes, and it kind of puts things in perspective. And you're not wrong for criticizing her or Terry when it comes to how they run the teams. This is sports, and it's what we do is we talk about sports. But even if it's just for a glimpse, a photo, a clip, you kind of see the human element of things, and it just makes you say, man, I hope she gets better. Let's just leave it at that, But it was nice to see the photo, and I was very surprised that the Bills released it. Pleasantly surprised. So good on them to kind of give fans a little bit of a glimpse inside her. I thought that was really cool.
There was a part of me that did wonder, and I'm going back to Tim Graham's piece, if this was a plan that they were going to do this, and maybe they were upset about the timing of his article, and that's why they gave a bigger stink to that, about it, because they were like, oh, we're gonna Friday, we're gonna have her end the week, and then that article came, and part of me wonders if maybe that was a part of them being upset a little bit. I don't know if that makes sense. That's me being a little bit cynical about it, but I'm just wondering because, again,
not impossible.
I don't think that's
overthinking
I don't think that's something that they just decided to do it at 2:00 after practice. It feels like something like her health is obviously like not great. You're not gonna like hey, go in the camera, like go and walk, like you're gonna kind of
no. I was
bring it
playing.
up.
I don't know
You
if Tim Singh had anything to do with it or not.
No, I'm not saying like I'm not saying that they did it because of that. I'm saying that they were planning on doing it. That article drops. You could, in their view, it was a negative article towards Terry. And then they were like, maybe it was because they were like, well, we're doing this thing today. And maybe they were annoyed. I have no idea. I'm just wondering. I'm just
sure. It's fair to wonder. We'll get out of here. A couple actually Bills camp news things. And I know you're not big on camp, but I think there's a couple things to me that have kind of really stood out through 4 days. And again, starting most people watching and listening to this today on Monday, the pads are going to come on. So we'll start to see a little bit more physicality with linebackers and running backs. I think for certain positions, the pads matter. For others, I don't think it means shit. But anyway, by all accounts, a really, really good start for Keon Coleman. He's made some really nice plays. He's made a couple of spectacular catches, which we have seen on video. I know what you're talking about and what you're saying when it comes to
I'm looking at my phone right now because I'm so bored by this, but go ahead. Sure.
The autographs and all that other stuff, I get that shit. That's whatever. Candy, fluffy.
No, that fluff is
on the field. He has made some really good plays, dude. He's made some
without pads on pads. Without
he's still catching the football. He's still catching the football.
You could look good out there and without pads.
Catching the football.
Without fucking pads, dude.
By all accounts, Keon Coleman has looked really good.
Well, he should join the Flag Football Hall of Fame then, because I mean, give me a break. Okay, fine. Get excited, dude. No pads on. Yeah.
I get excited about nice catches, and he's made a couple really nice catches. But probably the best, at least from the video clips that we've seen, the best play of camp through the first 4 days was a beautiful Allen to Keon Coleman fully stretched out catch. It was beautiful, man. He's
I think I saw that. Maybe I don't.
He's made plays, and his usage. I came into camp saying they're going to move him along slowly. I've said, which is more day by day looking like a dumb take, but I have said it, and so I'll own it. I said MVS is going to have more receiving yards this year than Keon Coleman. MVS ain't done shit through 4 days. Like, he's not getting reps. He's not getting run. I know, but Joe, where do you get run with? Who you line up with matters.
The MVS thing is definitely, that's if he has not really run that much, that's a little interesting. But
he doesn't play special. He's got no special teams value. So if he's not going to be a significant part of this offense, he's not going to make this team. So
we'll see. I mean,
they got
to do 3 preseason games.
Keon Coleman is playing a lot with Josh. He's playing almost exclusively with Josh Allen. He's getting a lot of time with the ones. So that whole, he's going to get very slowly eased in. I'm starting to think that may not be the case, man. So that's significant to me. And then the safety competition. Every day a new guy is started at or they got a rotation, 3-man rotation at free safety. Cole Bishop is in the mix to play free safety. Cole Bishop is obviously in the mix to play strong safety. Hamlin and Mike Edwards are battling right now. They're taking turns. Nobody's really stood out to this point, but it's just different because we're so used to that's one position we don't even have to think about, man. It's Poyer, it's Hyde, and now it's not like that. And there's some legit competition going on so far. Maybe the pads will mean, you're just yelling about the pads to me with Keon Coleman. Maybe the pads will start to mean more when it comes to the safeties.
I guess I need to look at notes from people from last year when they said about who was rising and who was falling during not like the beginning of camp. As I said, it's something that doesn't move the needle for me, unfortunately. Sorry, camp bros, but I'll pretend to for this sake. For those safeties, like there's 4 obviously who are in competition. I would not be shocked if any of those, whatever the combination is, it won't shock me if these 2 guys are out or these 2 guys are in. It kind of, I don't think it would shock me that much. Hamlin would shock me, actually. I should rephrase that. Hamlin would, for the most part. That would definitely shock me because, I mean, the guy didn't play at all last year, really. He was a healthy scratch every game, and he played some special teams. That's why I didn't – when the first day happened, I was kind of like – and he was starting, I was kind of like, it's probably because the other guy was hurt in training camp or previously. He knows the system, blah, blah, blah. It's just the beginning. So
I think he's making the team, though, now. I did not – going into camp, he was – a popular pick among media people to be on the outside looking in when it came to 53-man roster projections, but I think he's very much making this team right now.
Well, he could be on the practice squad. So
no, I think he's going to make the team.
Oh, that's what he was. You're right. Yeah, that's what he was.
Yeah, I think he's going to make the team. I think if he doesn't start, if Mike Edwards starts, Hamlin's going to be one of those 4 safeties. Cam Lewis, to me, is going to be the 5th safety because he could also play special teams and slot corner. He's a little more versatile. But I think Damar Hamlin, probably beyond Keon Coleman, I think the biggest development for me personally is that I think Damar Hamlin went from someone on the outside looking in to somebody, well, even if he doesn't start, I think he's going to make this team.
We'll see. I think it's still early. They have to put the pads on. They got to go train. They got to do the preseason bullshit. And
one last thing.
We'll see.
4 practices in so far, and that Camp Darling this year, I know who it's been. I mentioned him earlier. I didn't mention him on the bingo board because I said Tyrell Shavers because he's that receiver that people get excited about and ultimately probably doesn't amount to much. Matt Collins has had a good camp. Matt Collins has been a popular player
all day.
I did a show on him 4 months ago, so yes, I have. I think literally go back and watch this. People search in the Talking Buffalo YouTube channel. Hit search. Matt Collins is better than you think. That was a February or no, it was a March episode.
Thank God I wasn't on that podcast. I would have been bored out of my mind. But yeah, you've been on his jock for a while. You're very.
I think he's a good player. I talked to I'll say the name Damone Harris, who played with him in Atlanta last year. I'm close with Damone, and Damone said he was a great carrier, a great person, a great player, great special teams player. He could block his ass off, but he didn't get an opportunity last year with Atlanta offensively. 2 years ago in Vegas, he had almost 700 yards receiving. Anyway, I'm not even saying he's going to have 7 yards, but so far he's been a Camp Darling on the field. He's making this team. He's been a Camp Darling on the field and off the field. Like, he's a great interview. He's a weirdo in a good way. He loves walking around barefoot. He's probably, after Keon and Josh, probably the 3rd most talked about guy I feel like right now in camp.
Should Josh be a leader and tell him to put sneakers on? Is that what people want? Hey,
Does
put your
that make
sneakers on, man.
You ever walk around barefoot? Would you walk around a football field barefoot?
Yeah, why not? Grass and feet is great as long as there's not a bee trying to sting your foot. Yeah, I would do that. Why not? Sure. But it's going to be. Look, I think the biggest for me going into the season, the biggest thing I'm going to watch, like when the season starts, like I'm really intrigued by is the stupid wide receiving core, because I have little to no expectations of it. And you love them, and you think that they're not going to miss Diggs or Gabe Davis. And I think you're insane to say that. But I'm ready to be proven wrong, and we'll see what happens. But that is the position that I'm most intrigued with watching this season. I see how it's going to form, see what the depth chart is, to see who's going to get touches, to see how it's going to work, because it's completely different.
Everyone eats. That's the mantra of this camp. Everyone
eats. Yeah. Well, hopefully they know how to eat, because that's going to be the big thing. Because
I feel like this offense is going to be better than it's been the last couple of years.
Oh my God!
I just feel that, bro.
What are you feeling this for? What's this? My God.
I
don't know what podcast you're stealing your info from, man. But I don't know how you can think it's going to be better. But
pads are on. Pads are on at camp. Is there anything? God. Is there anything? No. Or anyone as we get out of here? Is there anything or anyone that now that the pads are on, that you kind of intrigues you enough to follow?
Nothing. Nothing. I go on Twitter in the morning and I do a doom scroll, and I actually do more now than I did. Even though what do you
call it? A doom scroll?
Yeah, doom scrolling. You never heard of that expression? Like, you take your phone, you go through Twitter, you're doom scrolling, like just scrolling for doom.
Okay.
And that's it. Like, you just scroll.
I scroll. I never heard of doom scrolling, but okay.
Yes, my sister-in-law, she used it the other day, and I've heard it before, but she coined it the other day. But by the way, I am not going to be on your podcast next Sunday because I am camping. The connection is going to be terrible, so you'll have to find some other schmuck to tell you. I will be back though. I will be back Monday though. So if you want to do a Monday night tape delay for Thursday, I'm down with that. But I'm gone. I'm gone Thursday to. Monday I drive back. So maybe I
respect the fact that you felt to handle that piece of business on the
Yeah,
podcast.
because I want it to be no, because I'll forget, and then you'll message me on Friday. And Friday, be like, "Hey, can we tape tonight?" And I'll be like, "No, dude, I'm with bears in the fucking campsite eating s'mores and drinking beer." So,
final thought: there's two things that I'm really looking forward to seeing this week with the pads on. Two things. One, on a serious note, one, Ray Davis, the running back, the rookie running back. Heard a lot of good things about him. I've read that he looks really fluid, good catching the football. He's a physical runner. I'm very much looking forward to seeing with contact how he looks in camp. James Cook was out on Sunday for personal reasons, not an injury. Which, by the way, it's another big story with Bills camp so far. 4 days in, knock on wood, no major injuries. But Ray Davis has looked good, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he looks in pads with contact. And then Matt Milano.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that seems like a little bit of a
Matt Milano is, I've kind of heard varying reports. He's looked really good at times and then a little bit slower, which would be expected. I mean, he's still in the process of ramping up, but hopefully no setbacks with him. That's going to be a big key. So I'm looking for, those are the two things, like today, I should say, because it's going to be Monday, but that I'm going to be locked in on: Ray Davis, Matt Milano, and maybe a little bit of Kyrie Elam too. See how he looks out there.
I'm going to be locked on driving to a camp north of Syracuse with my wife and my 1-year-old. It's going to be horrible. Maybe I'll put on a podcast, not yours, of course, while driving. And I love busting your chops, man. It's so easy. But
well, put on Locked On Bills, because Joe Marino, and you want to talk about a good transition to a plug again Wednesday night live with me at Sunny Reds.
Yeah,
So,
I'll listen. Maybe I'll listen to that. We'll see what you guys see if you name drop me and go, "My buddy Joe from Queens is wrong, Joe." Like I got the good Joe on this week.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you very much again for watching, for listening, especially on the video side live. This was, like I said, take two. We had a little bit of some tech issues to start the first time, but everything all worked out here in the end. For Joe, I'm Patrick. Be back. Actually, I'm going to be on solo tomorrow. I'll have some camp observations. I'll be there, and I'll have some thoughts after practice in Rochester on Monday. Talk to you guys then.